What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 4th day of August, and here we are with about 11 hours, 25 minutes left in the day, sitting at $114.4 thousand. It's looking like we are going to get that Monday dump after all. We did wick up to about 115K. Found resistance at prior support here, and we are coming back down. We've got 11 hours, 25 minutes left in the day, and just looking at some of the shorter term stuff, I think things have taken a little bit of a bearish turn, and that's okay. We're not going to go lower than this low. I very much still believe that this is the low. The goal today, as it was yesterday, is to continue. Oh, sorry, not that one. My bad. I think I was on the wrong fib there. Is to continue to close above 113K. Okay. That's it. It's that simple. Does that mean we can't go below 113K? No, we could go to 112.6. Who cares? We could go below this yellow line, but we don't want to close the day below it. Okay, that would not be good. That would actually be very bad if we did that, because then what we have is a prior area of support providing resistance. This reversal signal that we got gets tarnished. Likely, then the statistical probability would be that we go to the 0.5 or golden ratio zone, which, I mean, if Bitcoin's going down there, altcoins, I can only imagine what that means for altcoins. So avoid that, avoid all that, and just close above this level here. If we close just below 113K, we're okay. But if we close below this line at all, I would be intimidated, to say the least. And we don't want that, right? We want the bulls to feel not intimidated. I think we want the bears to be intimidated. But looking at this here, it's looking like Monday is going to dump down a little bit. Let's get in the 1 hour time frame, the shorter stuff, and then we'll come back out. Okay, looking at the 1 hour here on the RSI, we do have lower lows and lower highs. You're trending down a little bit, right? It's definitely a downtrend, and of course we just rejected this area here. It's nice that we have lower lows, right? We've got lower lows in the RSI while we have higher lows in the price. But, and I was looking at this thinking, oh man, this is actually nice. We've got higher lows here, lower lows in the RSI. That's hidden bullish divergence. That's a good thing. But what's not a good thing, and then sometimes you have to, think a little bit outside the box, or think about all the scenarios here, is that we do have this trend line here, right? And a lot of people, I'm sure, who think they know what they're doing, myself included, they'll look at a trend line like this and be like, oh, as long as we got this, we got higher lows, and even if we have lower lows in the RSI, it's okay because we got higher lows here. But the thing is, with these trend lines, and I've said this before, I've said this plenty of times, typically with the diagonal trend lines, you will find support the first time, you'll find support the second time. You don't even know that you have a trend line until you have the second one. And then the third one, if you get a weaker level of support than you did the other two times, especially if it's in this order: strong, weak, weakest, right? If it's like this, that typically implies that you are about to break through it. And a lot of people assume that the best time to buy is here, and maybe it is. You could buy at this trend line here and get a quick little play and then sell, and catch something below. But I think the best time to buy is not on the trend line, right? The best time to sell is not whenever we break the trend line. It's actually the best time to buy whenever we are below this trend line here. I don't think that we're going to go too far below it. I don't think breaking this implies death and destruction. I don't even believe that we'll go below 113K. Maybe we see 113.7, 113.5, something around there, 113.2. This is where, if we look at the liquidations on Binance, OKX, and Bybit, look at the last 7 days here, maybe even the last day. I thought I was looking at the last day. Yeah, let's look at the last day. And I'm actually surprised we didn't continue to eat, man. I really thought that we were going to continue to eat. This short squeeze would come into full effect, but it hasn't. It's okay. We're piling on more shorts now, right? There's more shorts now than there were on my last Bitcoin video, so that's actually a good thing, not a bad thing, if you're looking for the upside. But over the last 24 hours, and the shorts have come up compared to the longs, but over the past 24 hours, we've definitely got more longs than shorts, and this big spike in longs would get cleared out at 113.1K. So something in between there, like 113K, and here 113.7 is likely where we go. We're at 114.4 now. So 113.7, 113 itself. Typically with these things, once we enter into these liquidity zones, we push through them, right? And if we push through it, I would think that we could even go a little bit below 113K. And again, that's okay. It's okay to go below $113,000. It's just not okay to close below there. Okay, we want the day to come back up and close below there. But sometimes, we get right to the edge of this and then we push back. The shorts might pile on enough. There might be more attraction to the upside. There might be so much buying pressure that it prevents us from going lower. Let's look at some stuff that agrees with the idea of going down to 113K to 113.7. From a low to a high here, this 382 is perfect. 113.8K. Typically with the 382, what you'll see is a move that goes just below it. You'll wick just below it, and then you'll close right above it, right? 1 hour time frame, daily time frame, doesn't matter, whatever. That's the normality with this thing. So yeah, 113.7K, I could very much see us getting there. Could we go down to 112 or 113K itself? Yeah, the golden ratio is right here. And that allows for 113 to 112.9K, something in that area. That's also where our 382 from the overall fib is as well. So yeah, there's plenty of reasons to find support in this area. And of course, Bitcoin does love its 0.5, which another thing that agrees with the 0.5, if we're looking at this pattern here for what it is, high, I think I would take this low. I always like to take the low. Some people would take this low because technically that is included in the pattern, and I get that. But I'd like to take this low because I think the pattern really started at this high, personally. I don't know. That's just how I do it. I'd rather be conservative. And the point where you break out, that does take you just below the 0.5 there. So, and not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but whenever we have bearish patterns in a bullish trend, typically they don't perform as intended, or they don't perform as well. You could see this thing stop at the 0.5. Even if the measure move is here, it might be just above that to the 0.5, or maybe it exceeds it and we go to the golden ratio. So a little bit more refining there, thinking about 113.5K, 213K itself. I mean, that would put us right smack dab on the lower ends of this, right? 113.5, we'd be getting actually right up against this one here. I don't know. Something around there makes sense to me. I don't At this point in time, I don't believe that we go below 113K. I wouldn't be intimidated by it if we did. Okay, that's all I'm really trying to say here. What else we got? But yeah, looks like it wants to go down, right? On all these fronts right now. Things have changed. We went from finding support here to now we're dilly-dallying and we're getting weaker bounces off of this same trend line. Downtrend in the RSI, downtrend in the stochastics, and typically you want to get into the oversold zone after you get overbought, right? And you had a nice run in the overbought zone, you might take a break and get into the oversold zone. The MACD is building bearish momentum as we're coming down. Come down with the 1 hour MACD oscillators and scoop this zero. I think that would be nice. Well, we're moving down until the end of the day then. Monday dump, you guys. It's probably what's going to happen, and that's okay. 4 hour time frame here. Something else I was looking at was the MACD on the 4 hour. I zoomed out. I zoomed way the hell out. Let's just actually let's make it to where it's more easy to see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 green bars in a row. And I went back in time and I'm looking, and it just doesn't really look like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. But most of the time you don't get larger than that, right? Or 7. 7 is pretty long, is all I'm trying to say. Most of the time it's not that long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right there, 9. And you went above the 0, and then you came down, right? But most of the time, and I mean, sometimes you get some big ones, but that's back in March, right? Back in March. This was a whole bearish time right here as well, by the way, guys. But most of the time you don't get consistent building of bullish momentum non-stop on the 4 hour time frame, right? It's between like 5 and 10, and we're right there. 7, we're right there in between 5 and 10. And we've got 3 hours left in this 4 hour time frame here. We really could come down, or we could come back up and build this bullish momentum still, and maybe we do. I don't think that we'd get above 114.7K before going lower, personally. Now, if I'm wrong, that's okay. Maybe we do continue to move up higher. Perhaps this is just a consolidation phase right before the big break. If I'm wrong, by the way, you guys, if I'm wrong, I would expect that comes in the form of getting a 4 hour time frame to close. Oh, this is tricky. Let's see if there's anything else that can help. I think that's fine. I would rather stay here, but at that point, it's like you're already above it, so it doesn't really help. If you close above 115K, I think that's a signal that I'm wrong, okay, on a 4 hour time frame. But if you can close above 100, I would even say 114.7K, 114.75, 114,750. If you can close above there on a 4 hour time frame, then I'm wrong. We're not going lower. I don't think I'm going to be wrong, though. I'm not making predictions to be wrong, personally. I don't care if I'm wrong. It happens. You should be okay with being wrong. The people who are the best traders, the best investors, they're actually the best at being wrong. They're not the best at being right. The people who are, I want to say the worst traders, the worst investors are good at being right, but they're not good at being wrong. But that's not necessarily true, because anybody can be right, man. Anybody can be right. Someone brand new to this game, they can be really good at being right, but being good at this game involves being good at being wrong too. I don't care about being right or wrong, but nonetheless, I don't make predictions to be wrong. Right? That's not what my ego lets me do. No, that's not the point of this. Right? We're trying to divulge the information and get accurate results here. I wouldn't be surprised. The lowest that I could see us going would be 112.6K. But again, if we go down there, we don't want to close below 113K. We better have a bounce and then come back up. Anyways, 4-hour MACD, cool off a little bit, right? You're in a bullish posturing right now to come up and close above the zero. I think that'll happen on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Stochastics are overbought. If we're in a bullish situation, we should bounce off the 50 and then come back up. That would be nice, right? If we are, we don't have to. We don't have to do that. And typically what you do is you get overbought, you get oversold. You get overbought, you get oversold. You get oversold, you get overbought, you get overbought, you get oversold. Typically this is what happens, right? You range. So, with that in mind, maybe we do see some bearish momentum building until Wednesday or Tuesday. That doesn't mean that we close below 113K, but maybe we close above it today, we go below it tomorrow, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we move up, but Tuesday we close back above it too, right? Maybe like today we close down here, and then we bounce a little bit, and then Tuesday we go lower, and then we come back up and close above it still. We could definitely see something like that. This 069 is here for a reason. So 112.6K, I mean, that would definitely clear out the longs, and we would definitely pile on the shorts as well. And at the end of the day, it's just a blip here, right? We're arguing about semantics, but I'm just talking about a little bit lower really is what I'm seeing in the charts, right? 4-hour time frame here, still in a downtrend, I think. I mean, overall, it looks like you have broken out of this right here, but overall, you've got lower highs, right? I mean, you're not, it's not a perfect looking downtrend, but you're still in a downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. Perhaps what you do is you come back down, you bounce off the 40, you bounce off the oversold zone, something like that, get a higher low here, and then come up and form a higher high. That's probably what's going to happen. On the 15-minute time frame, I didn't even look at the 15-minute time frame. We're also in a downtrend. Slow formed downtrend, right? We had a nice uptrend, turned into a sideways trend, turned into a downtrend. Uptrends end in the overbought zone. Downtrends end typically in the oversold zone. Right? And makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. I think we're going lower, guys. Just a little bit though. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Don't get your hopes down. Everything that we've been talking about over the past couple days is still going to happen as far as like this being the low and moving up. That's my perspective at least, right? I think that we do have a nice area to bounce from here. I really do. We just have to uphold that 113K level. As long as we do that, I think that we're fine. What else do we want to talk about? Daily time frame, bouncing off the oversold area looks good. Stochastics, we want the stochastics to cross up, and we can close red today, and I think they'd still cross up. We still want to close 2 red. I'm not 100%. If we close red, the blue one would point down, but the orange one would point up still. So, but depending on how red we close. MACD decaying in bearish momentum. We're looking like we want to scoop this zero line with the MACD, and I think that's good. And again, that could imply that this week we move up, but not at like a crazy rate. So that new all-time high by the end of this week thing, it might happen. But it might happen next week. It actually might be reserved for next week, the second week of August, not the first week. So I know I was calling for new all-time highs here because, and just to touch back on why, anytime we've bounced off of this, we have in a 3 to 4 day span, we bounced off this area here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days later, 10% up. We bounced off this area here, low in the RSI, 1, 2, 3, 4 days later, we're up 10%. We bounced off here, same area in the RSI, same thing with the stochastics, bouncing off here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, that'd be Thursday, 10% would put us at new all-time highs, or at least around there, right? And that still could happen, but it depends. It really does depend, I think, what happens between today and tomorrow. If today closes red, that doesn't mean that tomorrow has to close red. But just looking at this other stuff, especially the 4-hour, I don't know. The only thing is, if the 4-hour bounces off the 50, or something above that, then we could do that. But that's not typical of the stochastics. But we haven't seen it in a while, and it does happen sometimes. The only thing making me think that it would take longer is the stochastics, really, but I could be wrong. And inevitably, regardless if it happens in 4 days or 5 days, we're going to do all-time highs, you guys. It's going to happen. So when we do see new all-time highs, inevitably, which at this rate could be by the end of this week. If not, I would feel safest saying that definitely it will happen by the end of next week. We should be moving up rather immediately to $140,000. There's very little doubt in my head that we'd move up to 140K. When you consolidate below the 1272 like this, you don't even touch back to 100 for support. Even if you did touch the 100 or the 886 for support, whatever, whenever you do stuff like this, the next area to consider typically would be the golden ratio. So that's 140K. Bitcoin with its golden ratio, fun fact, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, it loves to wick above it. So we probably do go just above 140K. And that should happen by the end of August. And then going into September, we should be reaching for prices that are at 160K to 190K, something like that, okay? Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your kids. Take care of your moms and your dads. Dads need love too. All right, bye-bye.